these are the signs. Just know there is an entity or the spirit that drains your energy. If you have allergies, that does not go away even though you take medicine. It's the same thing. You have a spiritual attack already. If you have ongoing migraines, they don't stop. Allergies, however much you take medication, just know you are already spiritually attacked. They love cold and sore throat. Your throat can hurt and burn. They love that because they want to attack your throat chakra. So if you have tried every medicine and nothing works, just know there is a spirit that is really attacking you, that drains every bit of
has done brujeria or witchcraft on you. Number one, you feel overcome with depression. Like out of nowhere, you're just overcome with a wave of depression. You're even having feelings of unaliving yourself. Number two, your money is literally going down the drain. You can't explain it. You don't know where it's going to. You still have the same expenses, but somehow your money just disappears. Number three, things in your house are just randomly breaking, like left and right. Yesterday was the microwave, today is the fridge.
Hey guys, hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna growing up, my mom always taught us to be careful who you are around. She was very protective and always told us to be careful, you know, no matter if it's a relative or whatever, you have to be careful, you know, when people offer you certain foods to eat and all that stuff, be careful. So growing up, I kind of was like put it in the back of my head and moved on with life, you know. And so I always, like, when I moved to the US when I was younger, I assumed that the witchcraft thing was just something that's only like mostly in Africa, but I didn't know that it's all over the world. So a couple, like 2 or 3 ago, I was scrolling and this video popped up of this Mexican lady who said that her life went downhill and she blames her relatives for it. So she was with this man that she was married to, and the man's family did not approve of her. They wanted to get rid of her, so they started doing all this stuff, okay, all this stuff to get rid of her. And she started feeling a lot of pain. Sometimes she was even in a wheelchair that she couldn't go to work, and she went to doctors, specialists, trying to figure it out, and nothing was working. And even now, like, I think the last video I watched of her, she said that she's still experiencing some of it. It's not as bad, but she's still dealing with it. And so she was talking about the different things that happened that she noticed that led her to believe this was definitely brujeria or witchcraft. So she mentioned that she was always in pain and doctors couldn't help her. She noticed that she was having migraines back to back, migraines that were so bad. She noticed that a lot of times when she had fruits or something like that in the house, there was always flies and insects showing up. She mentioned that she started feeling just off, almost like her balance was always off. And she noticed that places that she went to, she was having issues with people constantly. Like, people were just trying to fight her and get mad at her and all this stuff. So when she started figuring out, connecting the dots, she realized, like, oh my gosh. So after watching that video at 3 a.m., okay, don't ask me what I was doing. I one day came across Lynn Googie's channel, and I usually watch her for Kenyan stuff or things that are going on. And then later on, she was doing a whole thing about witchcraft and things like that. And people were confessing who have gone through this whole thing with witchcraft and that it is very much real. And so that led me to a whole nother video, and I was just pretty much watching all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is all over the world. And it's just amazing that somebody could be right under your nose and they're doing stuff to you and you don't even know it. But if you are somebody who's connected to God and you pray and you ask God for answers and things like that, He will guide you and show you that something is up, because there's always things that just don't add up. They don't make sense. So when I was watching Lynn Googie, she was talking about how there's people that can never keep jobs. They have alcohol problems. There are people that are always having issues all over, and they have tried everything and nothing seems to be working. Nothing seems to be going right in their life. And then they realized later on, they connected that it was something with a certain energy that was placed on them. So I was like, OMG. So today I want to share with you guys some of the things that I learned from watching some of these videos. I'm not saying that they're 100% accurate, but some of the things make sense to me, because I've had family members back in the family members that went through something similar. I've known some friends that were talking about it. So I for sure know it exists and it happens to people. So one of the things I noticed is that a lot of people mention losing your stuff constantly, whether it's losing money or losing your wallet or you losing something that's important to you, and you're going crazy trying to find it and you can't. Another thing is migraines was mentioned a lot. People were having headaches that felt like they were about to have a stroke and their head was pounding and they couldn't even sleep at night. Another thing that somebody mentioned was some people try to give him gifts, try to give them certain things to keep in their house and all that stuff. And they noticed that the minute they started having those items in the house, all of a sudden it was a lot of chaos. It was a lot of craziness going on. Like one lady even said she got something when she traveled to, I think she traveled to Africa somewhere, and they gave her something and her whole world started turning upside down. So she had to get rid of the whole thing and go to, I think, her pastor or something to have it prayed for to help her get rid of it. Another person mentioned that typically when something is happening to you, you start feeling like you sometimes can get very like sickly, like you can, sometimes vomit, a lot. And it's almost like your body is just reacting to whatever it is, Some people have mentioned that, they just felt like they couldn't settle. They were restless, and they just would have, like, if they had something going on, like let's say you're somebody who had migraines, like basic migraines, they will get to a point where you cannot even function anymore. I'm talking about you can't function till you get accidents. So a lot of people mention that. And then a lot of people mention like it just feels like your life is just chaotic. One lady even mentioned how there was a lady that did not want her to get married to this guy she used to be with. So she decided, I don't know, she went to their house, left some item in the front door, and from then on the lady said she was constantly arguing with her husband, and they fought until she realized like it was the lady doing it, and then she had to go do like some Muslim counselor or something to pray it out and cleanse their house and all this stuff for them to be normal, because everything just went downhill. She noticed she was just having a lot of even cramps that she never used to have during her period. The cramps got out of control. So in general, I find it funny when people are like, oh, that's not true, those things don't exist. But then there's the things that you cannot explain. I remember growing up in a village, once a year there was this thing that happens. It was like you would hear this random noises that would happen at least once a year, and my mom would always tell us to run to the house and go close the door, because it was considered like something was passing that was not good. So you had to take your kids in and close the door and all this stuff. And before a long time we were like, okay, that's crazy. But it is, because people believe that, sometimes there's certain energies that are passing at a certain times and you have to protect yourself. So we always just did that. We just went to a house, locked the door, because if you were found outside, a lot of our villages, people would get really sick. So people believed in this thing for years and years, that it was just automatic. If you hear this noise, run to the house. And I was like, what? So, but if you are someone that believes in God strongly and you pray, you can pray and really just cleanse yourself in that way, hold on tight to God and, ask God for questions, and God will guide you and let you know if something is up. If you're dealing with some difficulties, just talk to God about it. And, but for some people to just say that it's something that does not exist, it does, because people have shown their stories and the amount of things that have happened to them, they're just like, whoa. We had one lady now, growing up, that she was known in the village, and one time she was walking and she got one of the worst snake bites ever. The funniest thing is that they couldn't help her. They tried everything to remove the poison and all that stuff, and this lady never healed. Her legs stayed big for years and years because they couldn't take it. And then later on, a lot of the elders started saying that there was some kind of energy there, that somebody had done something to cause that, and it wasn't just a typical snake bite. Like, it literally was something that was sent. And I was like, okay, whoa, because her leg grew so big. This is a tiny lady. She was like 5 feet. Her legs swelled up so big, and they couldn't take out the poison no matter what they did. And that's when people started talking in our village that something else was going on. And I was like, oh, and one of the things my mom would always say is that once you start getting involved in a lot of that dark stuff, you can never get out, and the only way getting out sometimes is to sacrifice somebody that you love. And so it's a very risky thing to put yourself into. If you join and you want to go out there and say, oh, I want a lot of money, and so you're going to go and do, like some of the guests that Lynn Googie had, they were talking about, they literally just went and did all this stuff to get money, and then it became something that they were so into that they couldn't get out of it. Like they literally had to sacrifice some family members and all this stuff for things to be normal for them. And so they really say you have to be really careful out there. Just be careful what you get yourself involved with, because this stuff is real. It's so real, and I've seen it with family members. I've seen it, people getting hurt in other ways, like that doesn't make any sense, And I've seen people that are struggling, and you could know for sure that this is beyond just, oh, the person lost a job, the person is this, it's just way more. So be careful, guys.